When you play the Game of Thrones,
Subscribe and like.
you die. There is no middle ground.
Welcome back to the Grease Goblins YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about Meera Reed. Now, Meera is an interesting character because I haven't really covered her on this channel in terms of a Winds of Winter predictions, unless it's really been like with Bran, or it's a Blood Raven video, or it's any of those ideas, like a Jojen pace type video. I haven't really talked about Meera herself as a character, and I wanted to do this for a number of reasons. One of those being because I was just thinking late night about Dark Sister and if Meera is going to get it. And then I was thinking about the possibility in the future of the character. And for me personally, I believe that Meera is going to be almost in a way the key to the North in a lot of ways. Because one, in the first half of her arc, which we all believe is going to be her with Bran, if she survives, which I do think she's going to survive. Of all the characters in Bran's little party right now, based upon what we saw on the show, which seemed to be something that was confirmed, and also it seemed to be hinted at in the story with the hold the door sequence of events. If that is the case, Hodor is likely going to die. Jojen, I believe, is already dead. I believe he was used in kind of a blood sacrifice type ritual. So I believe Jojen and Hodor are already out. The only other companion you look at left would be, well, Blood Raven, but he's likely going to die. The Children of the Forest, likely they might die. And then you look at Summer. So possibly Summer gets out of this. I actually think Summer is also going to die. I think it makes sense given the fact of where Bran's character is going, but let's then focus to Meera. So Meera, I believe Meera is going to find Dark Sister for a couple of reasons. The last time we see Dark Sister, it's with Brynden Rivers. There's no indication that Bloodraven sends it back to Aegon, or that Aegon ever demanded to be taken back. That's never said throughout all of the histories that we so far have of Dark Sister and the Targaryen history. Now, if we get Fire and Blood Part 2, this will likely change. George will probably give us some more speculation like he does with Fire and Blood, giving us a number of different indications as to what happened to it. But I do believe that Meera gets Dark Sister. I also think it fits her character quite well. Meera is not somebody that's really a tall person or really muscular or built. And Dark Sister, I think, would fit her really well. Especially when you think about the idea of her being the sister of Jojen and kind of the dark magic that's going on with Bran. I think it just has a nice, on the nose, meaning for Meera. Also, Meera being somebody that does fight as a woman, I think that it fits her really well. So I could easily see Meera getting Dark Sister, getting Bran, and with the help of maybe Cold Hands, that's how her and Bran's story goes. They go back south of the wall with Meera being the real last protector now of Bran's little party of getting him north and then back down south. But you got to remember from Meera's point of view, there's a lot of things happening. When we see her character in A Dance with Dragons, she's really struggling when they get to the cave because, well, they're not really doing a whole lot. If you're Meera, if you're Hodor, if you're Jojen, you're kind of just sitting around just, well, waiting for Bran to get this training to be the three-eyed crow or whatnot. And the other part of this is, if Jojen Paste is correct, like I believe it is, I think there's a lot of foreshadowing to it, especially in A Clash of Kings. I've been rereading that. There's a lot of stuff there that would wink to the idea that Jojen already knew his future, and so did Meera. There's even a quote in A Clash of Kings where really Meera is talking to Bran, but I also think she's talking to Jojen, where she's basically saying, you know, we should fight our destiny or fight what is in Jojen's dreams. And I think that was also to mean Jojen himself in his death. Jojen is very somber. He seems very distant, and there's a lot of reasons, and I'm not going to get into it here, but I believe personally that Jojen is dead. So Meera is going to look at it like everybody sacrificed everything for Bran to get these powers, and what is he going to do with them? And I believe that Bran is not going to be a robot like he was in the show. I think he'll be kind of an interesting character because I think he'll be, yes, still Bran, but I also think he'll be a vessel for the Three-Eyed Crow, maybe Bloodraven, maybe the Children of the Forest, where they live on through Bran. I kind of almost see it as like you know how in The Lord of the Rings, if you've watched the movies or you've read the books, the ring is basically a character itself. Peter Jackson really leaned into this in the movies. I kind of feel like there will be that as well. Like Bran will kind of have multiple, maybe, I wouldn't say personalities, but like he's going to have multiple voices in his head, like maybe making him do this kind of decision or leading him to go down an action that Bran maybe himself would not necessarily do. And I think that Meera will see that in Bran. I think Meera will look at Bran and go, what have you become? Kind of the way the show did it, but I think very different, right? Again, Bran is going to be very different than I think he is in the show, but I think Meera will still feel that. But I think Meera, outside of just getting Bran south of the wall, has a really key role in the northern politics. Because Howland Reed, as of right now, is still a character that hasn't really sprung up yet. We don't know what his role is going to be in the story, outside of telling us what actually happened at the Tower of Joy with Ned, Howland Reed, the Kingsguard, Lyanna, and possibly her child. He's going to be pretty key in that. Also, I believe that Robb's will, whether it's a physical copy or at least some of the people that know what was there, notably Lady Mormont, is actually with Howland Reed. It would make sense because they've just disappeared off the face of the earth. That's where it seems likely to go. And then at this point, you have Meera, who is one of the very few people that are going to be able to actually navigate where the Reeds currently are in the neck, right? She's going to be able to navigate that really well. She's from there. So I think Meera will come in and do a couple of things. One, get Bran south of the wall. Two, I think she's going to play a very pivotal role in getting the Starks, all this like ruling faction that maybe they're debating who should be ruling, whether it's Jon, whether it's whoever. And I believe that possibly they could all be led to Howland Reed, or possibly Meera goes back to the neck, gets her father because she sees what's going on, and brings him into the fold. Now, the problem is going to be, how does all this work out? Because Meera has a lot of traveling to do if this is the case. If she's going to be the person that either introduces Howland Reed, to everybody else, or she goes there, gets Howland Reed, and then brings him back, it's a lot of traveling. So I do question what, Meera's role is going to be in terms of the future of the North, because she is somebody that is going to have a connection to Howland Reed. Very influential character at this point of the story. Now, you also could think Howland Reed might just be on his way to Winterfell upon hearing the Boltons have, fallen, or they have failed against Stannis, and Jon has been resurrected, or Jon is on his way with maybe the wildlings to Winterfell as well. Maybe that's what prompts then Howland Reed to go there and start to get the ball moving. Either way, I think Meera Reed will be vital in that plot line as well. So when I talk about Meera Reed being the key to the North, it isn't that Meera is like, the most important character there, but I think that in terms of, Bran, because I think we all believe Bran is going to have a much larger impact on the story than he did in the show, outside of just being named king for no reason. Meera is going to be the person that's going to be able to facilitate that. But I also think she's going to have a major role in Jon's arc as well. So that is what I think about for Meera. Let me know what you guys think. I kind of didn't go super far, because I think going further than where I think Winds of Winter is going to be with the character is a lot more speculation. I think that for now, Meera is kind of painted for a really interesting arc, because if her brother does die, and did die in the last book, she's going to have to deal with that turmoil. She's also going to have to deal with the turmoil of what, Bran is probably becoming. She is just going to have a lot on her plate, and I'm really interested to see where that character goes. Very similar, in my opinion, to a character like Arya, and who knows if Meera will keep Dark Sister. I believe the Targaryens, for the most part, are going to die out by the end of the story, outside of maybe like Jon, for instance. So I could very easily see Dark Sister then go to the Reeds, but who knows? Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye, guys.